After years of being a content and technology provider to television broadcasters, the Movie Network is finally making the move to become their own separate entity. They've launched an online streaming service called TMN GO. It still uses the same business model in that if you happen to already be a subscriber to cable or satellite services, then you can watch movies for free. Except now that's extended to their own private network that exists on tablets, smartphones, and home computers. It's an interesting move that could set them up one day to become a competitor or a rival to Netflix. Now, although the service has the usual limited launch limitations, meaning that it's only available for iPhone and iPad, Android, BlackBerry, Windows Phone, they're all coming. For the first month, it's only going to be available to Bell and Cogeco subscribers. Rogers and other providers across Canada are coming. What you're about to see is really impressive. This is TMN GO for iPad. Right away you can see the heavy use of large splashy photography to really emphasize the Hollywood content available. It includes shows from HBO Canada and a catalog of movie classics. Even on the iPhone's smaller screen, they still manage to retain that big visual feel. It's slick, but I also think it makes it easier to decide on a movie to watch. You can dive into a movie fairly quickly, and although there's a brief moment of TMN branding to sit through, thankfully there's no advertising, no pre-show, no featurettes, and the quality is fantastic. Movies include support for subtitles and foreign languages. During playback, you can use the timeline at the top to quickly scrub through the movie. In fact, it happens so fast, you barely notice the change. You can change the video quality to accommodate your monthly data plans, something we really need here in Canada. I've been using the second lowest setting on the iPad and it works just fine. There's also a switch you can turn on that will limit connections to Wi-Fi sources only. You can browse through the catalog using large, beautiful tiles, or scroll up and down through lists that offer more detail. Adding a movie to your watch list so you can save it and go back to it later is as easy as just dragging it up to the top of the screen. Now when you find that movie in the catalog, it'll have a little check mark next to it and a little blue halo around the play button to show just how much of the movie you have watched. The next time you log into the service, you'll find a little reminder about any movies already in progress. All these little touches are helpful. You can set up 5 different devices for each subscription. We know from other similar services that that's a pretty reasonable amount, but you can stream up to 3 movies at the same time. That's nice to see. With one subscription, you can set up multiple user accounts for every person in your household, allowing them to have their own private watch lists. This ties into parental controls, allowing you to create watch lists that are geared just towards your kids. It's not quite the same as having a dedicated space just for children, but it comes close enough. Finally, and rather thankfully, there's a coming soon section that makes it explicitly clear what content is coming to the service and when. So where does the service go from here? Well, aside from making sure that it's available to Android users and Rogers subscribers, the Movie Network tells me that they're currently in talks with Microsoft to get it on the Xbox 360 and with Samsung to get it on their line of smart TVs. The hope is that as they expand it to include new channels and platforms, it'll open up the opportunity to create a new revenue model that will allow them to be able to include cable cutters and people who are only interested in an online service. I think this first step certainly justifies those ambitions.